Welcome everybody, it's Telman. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what I want to happen within the storyline for DLC 2, or otherwise known as Shaolin Shuffle. And I'm just going to be talking about what I really want to happen within the storyline inside this next one, because there's a couple things lacking in certain parts of the storyline recently, and they did do a big improvement inside Raven in the Redwoods, but I think there's even more things they should expand on, because not only is it cool just to entertain stories people like me, I actually think they have a lot of really cool areas that they can actually grow on even more. Because just for example, like inside Raven in the Redwood, when they would talk about the past of the characters that have already died inside there, it was really cool, but they could have grew into it more and actually talk about maybe the Raven in the Redwood story from the original film or something like that. It would have been so cool if they just expanded it more like that, because it couldn't have been a main part of the storyline, but it would have been cool to expand more on the actual story from the movie Raven in the Redwoods is. Of course, we're inside that movie universe, but we didn't really follow the story in it, and we just kind of did our own story that we were doing. It's not a really big problem with me right now. It's just that I would like to see them kind of explain what this movie is exactly about, because we did have some quotes from Pointdexter talking about in Raven the Redwood, just talking about the original story of Raven the Redwood, saying, oh, I remember this one, this is the one where nobody survived in the end. It's just a couple of things like that, except I'd like them to grow slightly more, because especially in this next map, it looks like they are actually doing this, because Lee Ross for a while was tweeting out these different images and quotes from this guy called Arthur McIntosh, and this guy would just, he was a business owner, of course he went and stole a bunch of money from his own company, of course his company went under, and a whole bunch of bad stuff started happening. And it'd be cool if they actually continue on that and they grow on top of this story from the original story inside the movie, and it kind of played and affected our story, because it would only make sense if they did that. The other one I would like to see is actually a hint towards Willard Wyler's true motives, because I've been talking about this for a couple months now, just what Willard Wyler's true motives are, because we really don't exactly know. We have different ideas. It's just that I don't like any of the theories that people have come up with as of yet, because it's just, they're just so weird, and others just don't have that much to back them. So I'd really like some more. I believe they will, because like in Raven the Redwood, they improved on this so much compared to Zombies in Spaceland, because they actually gave some background to Willard Wyler with his daughter, his wife, and his wife getting married, his company going under, and all that good stuff. So I really hope they continue doing stuff like that. And talking about background of characters, or just the characters themselves, I want actually more storyline on our characters, the real characters, because as we know, they're actually getting these new personalities every single time they go inside a new movie. So what I would really like to see is to kind of see our characters' real personalities and kind of get a background to them too, but mainly their real personalities, which would be a really cool thing if they slowly grow to this, and like a little bit more inside this map, and then DLC 3 you get their real personalities growing even more stronger to fight against the one that's put upon them, and DLC 4 we get the real character themselves, which would be so cool, and I would love to see that. And of course, like I kind of mentioned already, it's just I want to see the background of some of our characters, because like I said in another previous video I made a while back now, is why Willard Wyler chose our characters specifically, but we don't really know, because we don't really know too much about our characters themselves. We really know almost nothing about them. We just know more about the characters they're playing as. And the last one really had to be talking about how Willard Wyler got his powers to do all these things and how they really work, because we kind of have a general idea of what is exactly happening with Willard Wyler and how he's doing this. We think he sold his soul to the devil through Mephilotheses, and of course Mephilotheses is granting him all these powers to do all this stuff. That's the general idea. Of course, we don't know if fact or not, but it seems like that may be happening. But if that is true, I would at least like to know how he goes about doing this. Is it Willard Wyler just doing it himself with just through the rituals and all that good stuff, or exactly what's happening here? I would just like to kind of see how it works, because that was something we really didn't get to explore inside Treyarch Zombies, and it kind of bugged me a lot, because I really didn't know how half the things they did in there, well, maybe even more than half actually worked. Or it doesn't have to have a real reason, as long as it's logical and makes some sort of sense. I'd be happy, but you know, it just didn't happen inside Treyarch Zombies. So I would love to see things like that being explained inside this, because it's a really fresh series and a really fresh storyline, so they can start explaining that now instead of getting it lost, like of course happened with Treyarch. So I would love to see things like that, but we'll have to see when we actually get the map. So those are the main things I want to actually see in there. Now I just want to throw in one gameplay thing real fast, because I'm not too sure if I'll make a gameplay version of this video. I would like to, but I don't think I have enough specific things for Shaolin Shuffle to actually talk about. I could talk about the gameplay as a whole, but that's just not what I really want to get into. So I'm just going to say one gameplay thing really here, even though I have a bunch of them, but this is one thing I would love to see. And I would love to see that there's no boss fight inside this next map. Don't get me wrong, I love boss fights, but it's just that we get boss fights in every single map, because it just becomes way too predictable. We know every single map we're going to do steps to get to the boss fight. We're going to do steps to get to the boss fight. like steps to get to the boss fight. This has been going on since pretty much Origins in all actuality, because Origins you set up all for that final type of deal boss fight thing. Instead it wasn't really a boss fight, but you just had to survive in an area with a whole bunch of zombies, and of course Shadows of Evil you kind of had a boss fight, but the Rise of the Rocket was our first real boss fight. It's happened like that. So if you want to include Origins, then we've already had 8 maps in a row that had boss fights, and I'm just saying it's getting kind of old. And of course, even if you don't want to, that's 6 maps in a row that have boss fights. I don't want to make this the 7th or the 9th one, whichever way you want to count it. I just don't really want the boss fights thing around for this long, because like I said, it makes it so predictable. The Easter eggs are just getting easier and easier because they're so predictable, because we already know what we're going to do. I know they're fun and everything, but it's just making it way too predictable, and it's just too predictable. I don't like it. So maybe they could change something around. Maybe they could still have a boss fight, except change something around, maybe have some steps after that, but that would be kind of anticlimactic. You have the boss fight and then also you have to do some other weird steps after that. I don't know how they'd go about doing it. I would personally like to see no boss fight at all, but we'll have to see when we actually get the map. I highly doubt what's going to happen, because so many people like the boss fights. Like myself, I do like them, but it's just happened so many times in a row. I'm just kind of getting bored of it, so I just want to see us shake up to the Easter eggs, because back when there were no boss fights, the Easter eggs, we didn't know what was going to happen within the Easter eggs, and now we always know what's going to happen at the end of the Easter egg. It's just something I would like to see change for at least a couple maps. But that's about it for this video. If you guys did agree with me, or you guys actually have more things to add to this list, go ahead and tell me down in the comments. Also tell me if you guys disagree with anything I said in this video also. But if you guys did enjoy, go ahead and thumbs up. If you guys want to stay tuned for content similar to this, especially the Shaolin Shuffle, it's going to be coming out very soon, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to go, and I will catch you guys on my next video.